Sam Leavitt? More like Sam's leaving.
Again? We're doing it again?
Yeah, again.
Happy Monday again, and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show presented by Branded Bills. Make sure you head to brandedbills.com and use that code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by Professor Oates, also known by the U.S. government as Erik Ruby. We've got the deli man behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Rob in the chat, Emily in the chat, also a bunch of other Arizona State fans here to talk about the quarterback situation going on with the Arizona State Sun Devils. We did address it in an emergency pod earlier this morning, but we are going to get back into the Sam Leavitt discussion because we do have some updates in regards to sound from Arizona State coach Kenny Dillingham that we will get to a little bit later on in the show. Kenny, not just on the future of Sam Leavitt, also alluding to the future of the quarterback position at Arizona State. Also, Dilly had an absolute just bar that he dropped about the state of college football. Really excited for everybody to see that. Sharon in here, Ralph as well. Absolutely love to see all of you in the chat. Before we get back into the Sam news, I feel like we got to start the show with the biggest thing of the day. Jeff Sims is starting the Sun Bowl. Woo! Let's, if you have access to the Sims emoji, please drop the Sims emoji.
We'll only have a couple more times to use it together.
This should be your last time that you'll get to use.
No, we'll use it after the Sun Bowl.
Yeah, you're right. We'll
use
it.
Leading the team to a Sun Bowl
2026. I'm super excited.
Nobody.
Literally nobody.
Nobody's got it better than
nobody.
Us.
Potentially some packages for Cam Dyer.
Hey.
But I know we'll talk a little bit about the Sun Bowl a little bit later on in the show. I mean, we have to start. Yeah, we have to. We have to start with, again, Sam Leavitt gonna be heading into the transfer portal.
Of course, you breaking that news earlier today at Anthony_Totri, by the way, or at PHNX Sun Devils. If you missed the news when it did happen, Totri reporting that early this morning. And of course, coming off of some news that we heard yesterday, news that you could confirm about Sam Leavitt not showing up to the banquet, right? And so, we spent kind of 30 minutes about what does this mean for Sam Leavitt, and obviously talking about like how the decision makes him look. There are a couple of things that I feel like people have been talking about on socials that I feel like we got to talk about. And one of those is people are like, oh, well, now ASU has to go bargain bin shopping for another quarterback. And I know we'll get into like future stuff in the beginning, but can we just acknowledge the fact that first of all, we expected Leavitt to leave and go to the draft.
This was always an expectation.
Right? So nobody really banked on him coming back next year. He's making anywhere from $1.5 to $2-3 million, right? That's money that you're going to have to throw around.
Yeah.
Right? And he made that after a season where, again, all credit to him, one of the better individual quarterbacking seasons that we've seen at Arizona State, a ton of team success, led to a Big 12 championship and a college football playoff berth that he was in no small part a reason for. So he got a lot of money off of that.
And he earned it.
I think realistically, you're going to not have to pay your next quarterback as much as Sam Leavitt was getting paid or wanted to get paid, and you're still going to be able to find talent. I just think that people are kind of freaking out about that for no reason.
Yeah, there's, again, with rev sharing, these guys are, it's not like old college football, right? Where, again, you paid players under the table, which is 1,000% what used to happen in the sport. Nobody likes to acknowledge it, but it happened. Not just, and you brought up this point to me after we stopped doing this show, and I thought it was a really good one, is it's not so much just about, okay, you've got money now to play with because Sam's going to hit the portal. Tyson's gone, right?
Yeah.
Tyson's going to go to the draft.
Your two biggest NIL earners.
Xavier Alford is likely going to go into the NFL draft. Ben Coleman, Justin Watley, Clayton Smith, Prince Dorba, Keyshawn Elliott, Jordan Crook.
All out of eligibility.
There's an argument that your top 5, potentially top 6 NIL earners just don't have eligibility left.
Sure.
Right? Which means, again, you're going to be able to funnel that back into a new roster, some of the younger talent that you have going into the portal and finding players as well. I think overall, again, you are going to be able to set yourself up to compete. And that's what this is. That's what Arizona State wants to do, is they want to compete right now. But it does look like we do have a little bit more breaking news today. This is who reported this? Rufus, you got it in front of you.
Matt Zenitz over at CBS Sports says that Arizona State starting quarterback Javen Robinson is expected to enter the transfer portal. Of course, there was also news earlier today that Josh Atkins will be entering the portal. I want to just read what Shaman, who is in the chat, has to say. He said, "Hey guys, no Leavitt slander. Just wish him the best. He did great things here."
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think that's something that we visited this morning. Is Sam was a big part of bringing a Big 12 championship.
Yeah, Sam was no small part in reviving this program. Now, I think we both think the program will be fine moving forward without him. But that doesn't mean that what he did here was null.
No.
Right? Like he provided some of the greatest individual moments that we have ever seen in this program's history. And some of the best team success that we've ever seen in the program's history.
Yeah.
I don't agree and don't like with how it ended, but I understand the decision. I don't understand how he got to that decision and what he did yesterday. But again, on the field, nothing but good things to say about Sam Leavitt.
Yeah,
I mean, now we got like kind of two conversations.
Yeah, I mean, again with the portal, like there's people in here reporting other stuff too. We'll wait till we get that one confirmed as well. But with this is the cycle of college football.
Yeah,
right. Is you're going to have players transfer. That's just the nature of it. Now today, again, Sam, Javen, Josh Atkins, like this is going to be a new look roster. This is going to be a team that, again, you point and look to that 2024 squad and you're like, geez, where did everybody go?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just where it's at right now. But Kenny's got such a deep culture here. And again, getting to what Shaman says, at this point, I want another year back in Tempe.
We would love to have you back.
Right?
Shaman.
Like there are players, there are guys that believe it, that believe that Arizona State can be a powerhouse in college football. And they believe that this is the best situation for them, right? And I think steering the conversation back to Sam, and we addressed it this morning, there's no doubt that Sam is going to have an opportunity to go do some amazing things, not just at the next level, but at his next school, right?
Sure.
But there is going to be a lot of pressure. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him to be able to live up to these expectations that he has kind of set himself up for and that his camp has kind of set himself up for. But as it relates to Arizona State, this is something that, again, you have Kenny Dillingham. You have a wild card that I would say a lot of programs don't really have.
No other program has.
Right? Because in these conversations, you also have to remember, yes, Sam's gone. Think about the players that Kenny has been able to get in the transfer portal over the last several years. Sam being one of them, right? Yeah. As a backup quarterback at Michigan State. Cam Scadaboo. Jordan Tyson. Shaman Mateer. Yeah. Justin Watley. Clayton Smith, Prince Dorba, Keyshawn Elliott, Xavier Alford. Like this whole team was...
Boogie Wilson.
Pretty much this whole team was crafted through the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Right? And again, with talent leaving, talent's going to come in because you have money to play with now. And there are players that want to play at Arizona State. And Kenny wants those players here. 1,000%.
Well, and look, here's the thing, right? Obviously, last season was great. Right, Big 12 champion, magical season, probably one of the better individual, as a fan, sports seasons I'll ever get to see in my entire life.
Yeah.
Right? When all those guys want to come back, you can't say no, right? It was the right decision to bring everybody back. But when you look at the season before that, and you look at all the tight end or top end talent that left in the portal after that 2023 season, you had a lot of people asking, well, how? How is Arizona State going to craft a winning team after losing Elijah Badger, after losing Jalen Conyers, after losing Jaden Rashada, after losing Jordan Clark, after losing BJ Green, right? How are they going to do it? And Kenny Dillingham did what a lot of now modern coaches are having to rely on, which is go into the portal and basically build a team from scratch with a small group of guys who wanted to be here.
Yeah.
You look at, I think, the 3 or 4 teams with the most starts coming from the transfer portal this year, all were at least 4 games above 500, including Arizona. They were one of the top 5 schools with the most starts from transfer portal players. The Big 12 championship year, I'm sure Arizona State fit into that same category. When you now see what Kenny Dillingham has in front of him, which is a big, big, big well of NIL money, a lot more than he had to play with before the Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
Right? Now a renewed purpose and a lot of open roster spots. Not only at quarterback, which we are sure quarterbacks are going to line up to play with the guy who helped get Sam Leavitt to the point where he's a millionaire top portal candidate after being a backup for Michigan State when he transferred in here. Guys are going to sign up to come play here. What about the defense? People see how successful this defense is, how amazing Brian Ward has been. What about the culture, right? What about Jordan Tyson probably going top 10 in the NFL draft this year? Guess what? Receivers are going to want to come play here, right? This is now a destination. And Sam Leavitt is definitely a big part in creating the environment and the success that led to this being a destination.
Yeah.
And so was Cam Scadaboo, and so was Jordan Tyson, and so were all the players that came in through here. But none of that happens without the guy who's still in charge. And that is Kenny Dillingham.
And I don't want to put it all on Kenny, right? And Kenny, I don't think would ever put it on Kenny, right? You talk about the program, you talk about the place, you talk about the people around the program. College football is the second biggest sport, I would argue, in the United States. You know what the biggest sport in the United States is?
NFL.
The NFL. You know who is the top team in the AFC right now? The Denver Broncos, quarterbacked by Bo Nix. Bo Nix had the same guy throughout his entire college career, pretty much for the most part. And it was Kenny Dillingham. That first year at Oregon where he revitalized his career. You go back to Auburn when he was able to get things kind of started there. And Bo Nix has done a phenomenal job being Bo Nix, right? Mm-hmm. Kenny has played a part in that. Kenny Dillingham is who you want to be coaching you if you are a quarterback. And then you look at the OC. I get this year wasn't phenomenal for the Arizona State offense, right? By the standard, by the expectation. Marcus Arroyo, he's got his footprints in the NFL as well, and at a really high level of college football. This is certainly going to be a place where quarterbacks want to come play. That is point blank, period. And Kenny had some very interesting things to say, both about Sam Leavitt and about the future of the quarterback position at Arizona State that I think, in all honesty, is going to really get this Arizona State fan base pretty hyped up. Before we get into that sound and before we hit that break, I do want to update everybody with some of the transfer portal updates that we did get. Jaden Fortier, Arizona State tight end, he did officially announce that he will be entering the transfer portal as well. So the Sun Devils, at least as it relates to that tight end position, outside of Kamari Anderson, Hayden Vircher, and Landon Myrie, AJ Ia, they have lost some tight ends. Obviously, Shaman, and then Fortier. Interested to see if maybe they go portal hunting for a tight end as well. So him, Javen Robinson, Josh Atkins, a number of players so far for Arizona State entering the portal already. Kind of feels like more than you have gotten, at least from 2024 to 2025. And then, of course, the news of the day, Sam Leavitt will be hitting the transfer portal as well. I want you guys to be able to take a look and listen to what Kenny had to say about Sam Leavitt, but we are going to do that on the other side of our first break. It's been a wild day for Arizona State fans, so why not forget about it with 3 Amigos Tequila? Look, guys, in all honesty, whether it was a great season or somewhere in between, I know on our PHNX Sun Devils show, we were enjoying 3 Amigos Tequila because it's family-owned right here in the Valley, founded in 1939 and crafted in Mexico with 100% Blue Weber agave. It's award-winning for a reason. Look, it's smooth, it's bold, and honestly, they've got a bunch of different kinds of tequila. Some that go great with tequila sodas, some that go great with Bloody Marias, or some that are just great to sip on by themselves. So make sure this season, tailgate, toast, and celebrate with the Valley's favorite tequila, Three amigos.
Look, lots of shade being thrown today, but no shade at Shady Rays. By far and away the best sunglasses I've ever owned in my entire life. An independent sunglasses company offering world-class products rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Not only do they feel good, but they look good. A bunch of different styles for whatever type of style you're trying to rock. But beyond the hundreds of options, of course, the polarized shades, the high quality, they also have one of the most insane deals in all of eyewear when it comes to your protection. If you miss your shades, they take an unexpected hit, you break them, whatever, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by a lost or broken replacement. And if you don't love your shades, exchange for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. Simply put, there is no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. And exclusively for PHNX Sun Devils listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Now, look, we also have a lot of news going on in the Valley beyond just the Sun Devils. And if you want to stay up to date, well, we have you covered with PHNX Daily, and absolutely free newsletter delivered to your inbox every weekday morning. It's not just an amalgamation of links. No, it's actual authentic work from Alex D'Agostino over there on our website. You can also find it, but of course, it gets delivered right to your email. So go sign up for free over at gophnx.com. Become the most important and informed Arizona sports fan that you could possibly be.
Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Again, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. If you're just now tuning in, of course, news of the day, Sam Leavitt headed into the transfer portal alongside what looks like a number of Arizona State Sun Devils over the last several minutes, including cornerback Javen Robinson, Josh Atkins, Jaden Fortier. Interested to see if players continue to kind of trickle in with their announcements over the next several days or several weeks. I think a big part of it is, again, like, people got an itch, man. People got an itch to go look around and see what's out there. And, you know, given the state of college football, which we've got a great soundbite from Kenny Dillingham that we'll get to a little bit later, you understand it. You can't blame them. Again, I think there are certain scenarios where you could be upset as a fan. But I think at the end of the day, you also have to remember that we're talking about 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids.
Sometimes 25, 26-year-old kids.
in some of these situations, still young adults, right? Where it does feel like sometimes the internet is a ruthless place. And you just got to kind of understand that this team won a Big 12 championship like a little over 365 days ago. And I think these guys are allowed to proceed the way that they feel right, what's best for their careers. You can be totally upset as a fan. I get that. And I think with today's news, a lot of people are upset about the Sam Leavitt stuff and him hitting the portal and people talking about, the banquet. But I think even more people wanted to know what Kenny Dillingham had to say about it. And Kenny hopped on a media availability this morning for the Sun Bowl. And of course, the very first question he was asked, well, it had to do with Sam Leavitt.
I'm going to leave that to Sam's team, out of respect for him, for how they want to, progress from that. I love Sam. Sam grew so much here, and, he really did. And I grew so much learning from Sam, and I wish, whatever his future holds, I wish him nothing but the best. I absolutely want to see him succeed, and I can sleep really well at night knowing that we helped him progress himself along his journey. That is now the craziness of college football. With that, I'm very, very confident that we're going to have a really, really good quarterback at Arizona State. I can say that I'm very, very confident we're going to have a good quarterback at Arizona State.
It's that last part. Right. And I don't want to discredit all the stuff he said about Sam because, again, I'm sure that this hurts Dilly, but also Dilly has been the kind of guy that's like, do what you think is best for you. When it comes to the future, okay, when it comes to what's next, you mentioned Bo Nix. But everywhere that Kenny Dillingham has gone, there's been quarterback magic.
Yeah.
And look, a big part of that is the quarterbacks themselves. You have to be good in order to be good. But you also have to be in the right system with the right guy pointing you in the right direction to get the most out of you.
Yeah.
No matter who's quarterback for Arizona State next year, like, I'm going to feel good about it, especially with that face that he was making. With that, whether it's Fetty, whether it's Dyer, or
what
honestly,
do we think about that? Because like
the face at the end?
Yeah, do we?
I realistically think that it's going to be a portal name. Either that or he thinks Fetty is.
I think it's a portal name, and I mean, obviously, you got to be excited about Fetty too.
Well, yeah, you have to be excited
he's
about
really
Fetty.
excited about Fetty, but come on.
Even Shane's getting giddy, just like
I'm not getting giddy. I'm laughing about Kenny because we know Kenny. Come on. He's very intentional with his words. He knows what he's doing. He knows he. Yeah. I had 3 buddies text me in the past hour, like asking me who are they getting? Like because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
Sour in the chat says that laugh and smile. I know he wants to tell us so bad.
Well, and that's the thing, right? And that's kind of the thing where I ended off our breaking news podcast by saying you don't have to prey on Sam Leavitt's downfall.
No.
You don't have to root for Sam Leavitt's downfall. In fact, I don't think you should, because that would mean that Sam Leavitt is the program, or Sam Leavitt, there's no way you can have success without him. That's just not true. Look, I hope Sam Leavitt does well. I think that there is a situation where next year we're talking about him as a legitimate Heisman candidate. I also think there's a situation where he transfers to another school. It just doesn't fit. It's just not right. And he's looking at another year in college football trying to find his 8th school in however many years, right? So I think those two things are on the table with Sam. I think he has all the talent in the world. But as long as you have Kenny Dillingham here and the staff that he's built and the culture that he's created that bends to nobody, people are going to want to come to play here. Whether it's Fetty, who's one of the best high school quarterbacks in the country, or honestly, I think it's a transfer guy. And I think it's okay, battle it out. Let's go. Go figure it out. Let's see who's the best quarterback.
Well, this was, I mean, and I've had people even in this office talk about this situation, just about them adding a quarterback in general, right? Of like, okay, is Arizona State going to, like, let's say Sam were to come back, right? And again, that's not going to happen. But let's say Sam, like the news in a different reality, Sam's coming back at quarterback at Arizona State.
Sure.
I still think they go at a portal guy. Like, You've lost your veteran backup who's been here for just as long as Sam has, right? So, like, your quarterback room at that point, again, this is in a different reality where we're saying Sam doesn't transfer. You've got Sam, Cam Dyer, Christian Hunt, Michael Tollefson, Jake Fetty.
Yeah.
You've got one guy that's played college football and the rest of them that have never played in a game, right? Mm-hmm. It's a solid, like, it's a quarterback room where there's a lot of potential, but if in that reality Sam were to go down, I mean, that's a lot of what ifs, right? And in today's day and age of college football, with, again, you see it for Arizona State, when your quarterback goes down, like, it's tough to win football games, right? So I think even in a world where Sam, if he were to come back, like, in that reality, they would have still gone to go get a quarterback. And I think the proof is in the pudding. You go back and you look to Sam's first year when he got here. Jaden Rashada was still the quarterback, right? You had Jaden Rashada, you had Sam Leavitt, and you had Jeff Sims. You had all of those guys in the same quarterback room amongst some younger quarterbacks that were in there. So I think, again, in this situation, you've got Jake Fetty, you've got Tollefson, you've got Christian Hunt, you've got Cam Dyer. I think Cam Dyer is a very interesting prospect down the line, whether he remains at quarterback or decides that he's going to maybe go as an athlete and play wide receiver. And I think that's more of a decision based on what the coaching staff, less of what maybe he wants to do. But I don't imagine they would just throw him out there if he didn't want to do it. He's a very talented athlete. I think it's more so just how does that knee look like athletically, being able to run around, cut, make those moves. So if that's your quarterback room now, which again, that's what it's trending to be with Jeff being out of eligibility and Sam going into the portal, you're going to add at least one quarterback in the portal.
At least.
I don't think that it's totally ruled out that they bring in multiple. Because again, the quarterback room was a little bit different. You go back to 2023, what was the approach, right? It was almost like we are going to go get a bunch of guys and see who sticks, right? And maybe that's not the best option, but that's what they did, right? They brought back Bourguet, they added Drew Pine, they added Jacob Conover. Like, they had a lot of dudes in the quarterback room.
Sure, and I think it's a little bit different this time because obviously the expectations
it's
are
different.
Kind of
It's just, again, by numbers.
I also think by numbers, the money that you have to play with now is completely different.
Yeah, no, very
look,
true.
Arizona State didn't have the season that everybody expected them to be. Guess what? Every game was still sold out, right? NIL is still going up, right? Kenny Dillingham still putting pressure on, okay, we need more NIL. We need the money. We need this. We need that, right? And like we mentioned at the top of the show, you got a lot of money to deal with. I don't think that they go out there and poach 2 top transfer portal quarterbacks, right? Because realistically, those guys are probably going to want a similar amount of money, and nobody gets guaranteed playing time, but you go where you think you can play, right? Where you think it's going to be something that you can earn.
Yeah.
I think realistically what you're probably going to see is Fetty and then Dyer are going to be your 2 quarterbacks in your quarterback room that are either currently committed or currently in the room that will be there, right? I think you then go get kind of an on-the-margins transfer guy, maybe a backup like you got Sam Leavitt, just to get him in the room. Somebody you believe in, somebody you think that could be a good, solid backup that's maybe played a little bit of college football already, right? And then you've got your tier 1 guy that you're going to go get. The Harvard kid, the Old Dominion kid, the Auburn guy. No, I know you don't want Jackson Arnold. But, like, I think that there is...
Stay away.
I think there's kind of like this tier where, yeah, they'll probably add 2 more quarterbacks, but I do not think it'll be like 2 top-tier portal quarterbacks. And I don't think that Kenny's going to go and try to just find the big name. You know who wasn't the big name? Sam Leavitt. You know who wasn't the big name? Cam Scatterbo. You know who wasn't the big name? Jordan Tyson, right? These are all guys that obviously come from different points in their career when they transfer in, but Kenny evaluated and saw something in them.
Yeah, I mean, the potential was there.
The potential was there.
The potential is
but like with Sam, right? Like nobody was talking about Sam Leavitt.
I'm not familiar with what was going on in what, Lansing? Is it Lansing, Michigan? That's where Michigan State is?
East Lansing. When he transferred in here, it wasn't like...
No, again...
Oh, man.
I don't think anybody...
Like Michigan State fans weren't freaking out, and Arizona State fans were like, okay, cool, but not like, hey, this guy is the future of our quarterback
Nobody in
position.
Tempe was talking like that. I think there were definitely Michigan State fans, and again, like hindsight's always 20/20, where... Michigan State fans regret that decision. Michigan State fans...
Yeah, now they do.
I think even at the time, if you go back, they would argue that they botched that situation. Maybe not to the extent, right, where we're talking about a guy that's potentially a Heisman-level quarterback.
Some talent. You'd like to keep him if you could.
But... 1,000%. But I think, again, like, it's part of it is who they are as players. Another part of it is, like, the system. The system, I think, is very player-friendly, defensively, offensively. And, again, I think there is ultra confidence in you got to kind of have ultra confidence in this coaching staff to be able to build, because they've shown you that they can do it before. Not just that they can build in the portal, but also that when they recruit, that they can develop that talent.
Yeah.
Right? You look at guys like a CJ Fight. You look at guys like a Keith Abney. Like players that weren't necessarily like 4-star, 5-star guys. And that's not to say that they weren't bad players by any means, but like we're talking about guys that were 3-star recruits. Expectation is you come in, we'll see what you get, right? Yeah. And 2 guys in CJ Fight and Keith Abney that, I mean, have absolutely developed into amazing talents, not just based off the coaching staff, but because of what they've done here at Arizona State. Part of that is what you do in the weight rooms, the meeting rooms, the field, but also just the camaraderie and the culture that this program is building and what they've built. Like, if this isn't the best situation for you, Kenny said it a number of times, like, I wish you absolutely nothing but the best in your venture somewhere else. But they want guys that want to be at Arizona State. And again, they'll find the right quarterback. They'll find the right DBs. They'll find the right players across the board. And I think, again, to just try and further it, right? For a lot of folks that were upset that Arizona State I got the Sun Bowl, right? And is playing in the Sun Bowl. One of the benefits to playing in a bowl game that is as late in the process is the fact that you get extra practices. You get a ton of extra practices. And what the benefit of some of these other players leaving does is you almost get like a mini spring ball, right a couple months before actual spring ball, to get some of these younger guys reps in practice, to see what you have at certain positions. When you get into the Sun Bowl, hey, this is a perfect opportunity where it's not some BS spring ball scrimmage. This is young guys. You're on the road. You're at a neutral place.
Taking on the ACC champions.
Still, like, regardless, it sounds funny, right? But, like, still, like, you're taking on a Power 4 conference champion in Duke. Like, I think it's going to be an awesome opportunity to see what some of these young guys are capable of doing in these practices, in these windows, and it's going to set Arizona State up in a better position because similar to last year, you got those extra practices, right?
Yeah. There's benefits to playing the bowl game. And of course, as we kind of get a little bit more into it, we'll talk more about the bowl game. Obviously, today's news has definitely thrown a curveball into what we were planning on talking about today. But you have a system here in Arizona State that is not just predicated on let's go poach 5 stars and go from there.
Yeah.
It's not a sustainable method for Arizona State, and Arizona State and Dillingham have known that, right? You can't build your program the same way that a Georgia and Alabama operates right now. That's not how you win as Arizona State football.
Yeah.
Right? I still think, honestly, and you can tell me if you disagree here, maybe this is something we get into, obviously, as we get closer to the actual transfer window. I still don't think quarterback is the number one thing that they need to go get in the portal. I still think it's
offensive lineman, yeah.
Because here's the thing, is you can go get your quarterback in the portal, or you can develop your quarterback, or you can roll with Fetty. You got to protect him.
Yeah.
Right? And like you mentioned on our show, and obviously you with knowledge of the situation, like this wasn't a money decision for Sam.
No.
Right?
Sam's going to get paid wherever he goes.
Right. And Sam was getting paid here. What you need is a great offensive line.
Yeah.
We talk about Cam Scadaboo and Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson during the season and all these big skill position guys as to why Arizona State was able to get to the college football playoffs and take Texas to the brink of defeat. The offensive line was just as big of a part of that, right? And losing Lee Fautanu and then losing Ben Coleman, obviously a partial way through the season, definitely hurt this team. So if you can go and revamp your offensive line in the portal, whoever you get at quarterback is going to be set up for a lot more success. So that doesn't really change the number one priority for me. Plus, I think it'll be easier to go get you a quarterback because if I'm a quarterback, I want to play here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to play here. I'm going to get a lot of money. I'm going to get a lot of attention. I can win a Big 12 championship. I can make the college football playoffs, and I'll be ready to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I want to play
And again,
here?
like you see the way the fan base can rally around somebody that does something like that, right? You look at Cam Scadaboo, you look at, some of the other players, Jordan Tyson, the way that this community is kind of rallied around them. And I think the community, in all honesty, would have done the exact same thing if Sam opted to come back for another season. But you can be a legend, right? An absolute legend here, depending on what you do and how you treat this program. I see a bunch of people talking about Lenora Sellers. I haven't seen anything as it relates to Lenora Sellers actually entering the transfer portal. But if he were to enter the transfer portal, I know Shane probably wouldn't like it. That would be
what, dude? I don't hate Lenora.
That
I
would
love
be
Lenora Sellers.
that would be my number one. I mean, that's your dream
How
scenario.
many times do I have to say this?
One more time.
The reason why I had no faith in South Carolina is because they had only Lenora Sellers, and he's so good that people believed in that team. He's great. The team stunk.
Red Rover, Lenora Sellers, come on over. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review. We're going to continue this conversation on the other side of this quick break. Let me just send this show tweet in there.
Oh, look, I always absolutely love telling you about Game Time. Listen, Game Time is the best place for you to get tickets guaranteed, whether it's tickets for a sporting event or if it's tickets for a live comedy show or for a theater show or really anything. Game Time has you covered, not just with the best prices and the lowest price guarantee, or they credit you 110% of the difference, but also with upfront viewing of your seat, upfront pricing as well. No surprises when you go to check out with Game Time. And right now, you can take the guesswork out of buying any tickets, including, of course, Arizona State tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create an account, redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
You know what season it is, Rubus?
It's bowl season.
It's the holiday scratcher season with our friends over at Arizona Lottery. 'Tis the season for over $80 million in prizes. That's right. You heard that correctly. Over $80 million in prizes. Play holiday tickets from the Arizona Lottery for the chance to fill your stocking with cash. Of course, if you're anything like me, then you got somebody in your family that is just kind of a pain in the ass to buy for. So why not get them the gift that could set them up for life? That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
Me, Rubus, right? Some holiday scratchers.
Yeah, I'm gonna set you up for life.
There we go. Look, guys, there are 6 festive scratchers to choose from, including Cash Countdown, which is prizes up to $250,000, and then, of course, Candy Cane Cash, which smells just like peppermint. They're made for gifting, whether it's a white elephant exchange, a stocking stuffer, just because. Love to play and spread holiday cheer with holiday scratchers from the Arizona Lottery.
What a day.
What a day.
What a day.
Huh? Logan, I want sellers too. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. A lot of folks talking about Jake Fetty, the 4-star quarterback in the 2026 class that Arizona State recently signed. I would 100% expect Jake Fetty to be in attendance for the Sun Bowl. I mean, 1,000%, right?
You got to go say hi.
It's in El Paso. He can't play in the game. For all those wondering, no, he's not allowed to play in the game.
Dang.
If we're allowed to, we'll try to talk to him for you guys.
I think we can find a way.
Yeah.
I think we can find a way.
Just start screaming, Fetty!
And then
El Paso!
And then remember, Totri, we gotta.
Yeah, I know.
Figure out our dinner
man.
plans.
I know what you want. We'll see if we can make it happen. Yeah. You totally threw me off right there. You got me all nervous and fluttered.
Yeah,
man.
that's fine.
It's tough. Look, I think getting back to the conversation at hand with Arizona State, we're going to continue talking about the quarterback situation, whether it's, Fetty, Dyer, Christian Hunt in some world out there. I
think honestly, and this is no disrespect to Cam Dyer, who I think definitely has prospects at quarterback and also at other positions on the team. And we also haven't really gotten a look at him. I'd be shocked if your starting quarterback was not one of transfer portal name or Fetty.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if it wasn't one of those two.
I think, and I could be totally wrong here. I feel like if Dyer was going to get like a legitimate look at starting quarterback, he would start the bowl game.
Yeah.
And I get maybe that's not the optics on it. Maybe that is just like, hey, this is Jeff's last game. It didn't go the way that anybody wanted it to in the Territorial Cup. We're going to give him his final opportunity. And Cam Dyer, you can be, you'll have your packages, which I think you'll see Cam Dyer. But at the end of the day, I think there's a specific type of quarterback that Dilly and Arroyo are looking for. I think Jake Fetty really hits a lot of those checks. So I'm interested to see what the future of the position looks like. But getting to the Sun Bowl, because I know that is going to be a topic of conversation really up until the Sun Bowl, because there's some folks that are happy that Arizona State's playing in the game. There's some folks that are confused as to why Arizona State, didn't opt out of that game, because we saw a number of Big 12 teams do it. Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State, UCF, like a fourth of the conference opted out of their bowl games. And those were a couple teams that didn't even have bowl eligibility, right? In UCF.
That's a power move.
Yeah, I mean, to not just go bowling.
Be like, hey, we weren't invited, but also I'm not going.
Yeah. Keep your invite to yourself. And then I think there are more understandable situations where you look at like Kansas State and Iowa State that opted out and undergoing major coaching changes.
Yeah.
Right. I think for me, and this is my personal opinion, I would love to get the chat's thoughts on this as well. If I had any say in the situation, which, shocker, I don't
yet,
I would have opted out. I would have opted out.
And
of this
why
game
is that?
For a number of reasons. First off, if it was the LA Bowl, I get playing. It's next week. It's a short trip, whatever. You can play the game. And then from that point on, players can go do rehab. They can go have their little surgeries that they need to. They can begin their prep for their next journey.
Oh, you need your little surgery.
Right? When I say little surgery, I mean like minor surgeries that they've been waiting till the end of the season to have. Instead, you now have to wait 3 weeks, right? Regardless of those extra practices. You now have to wait 3 weeks to play in that game. So these same players that needed those surgeries, that wanted to begin rehab, that wanted to begin prepping for the next stage of their career, have to wait. That's been put on hold for, in theory, let's call it what it is, a meaningless bowl game.
Sure.
Right? Especially, and again, I think Arizona State fans can relate to this because guess what? You played in a Big 12 championship last year. You played in the Peach Bowl. Those are games that, like, you get up for. you get amped about. And don't get me wrong, I imagine that this fan base is going to really show up and show out to El Paso for the Sun Bowl. But, like, what does this team have to gain from this?
I mean, I hear you. And I think
also you got to consider,
I think it's what we talked about before.
But it's just the practice.
It's the practices, and then it's also game reps and experience for some guys as well. I think there is some monetary value in doing it. Obviously, it's not like program changing, but there is monetary value in playing in your bowl game as well. I think you're now kind of in a tough position because of the current state of college football, right? We're seeing so many teams opt out of bowl games over and over and over and over again. And I do understand it. Like, I really do. But also, part of you is like, look, you got a game, play. And I think Kyle Dodd was putting it out there as well on Twitter where he's like, I'd give anything to play one more college game, right? Now, there are a lot of seniors on this team, and there are also a lot of seniors that are going to the NFL or that, you know, are out of eligibility and don't know what they're going to be doing next in life. Some of them I'm sure really want to play, and some of them probably want to preserve their body and kind of look at what's next as well. I think it's just tough because you're at this point where every player individually is a business.
Yeah.
Right? And when you look beyond the seniors, you look at sophomores and juniors and redshirt seniors and guys who have extra years of eligibility. Well, not only do you want to give yourself the most amount of time to figure out what your best spot is, but if you plan on entering the portal, which window opens up a couple days later, and you go out there to play the first half of a bowl game before all the freshmen and sophomores go into play, and somebody falls on your leg, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're screwed.
Well, it's 3 days difference,
Your
right?
individual business gets flushed down the toilet. Now, again, if that happens to you on December 13th versus December 31st, how big of a difference is that? I'm not really sure. But we also see, like, when guys don't play for a long period of time, there's a lot of rust and there's a lot of, like, kind of layoff and all of that. So I get why people are saying, yes, you go play. And I get why people are saying that I'd opt out.
I am not, and I don't want this to get misconstrued, right? I am not anti-bowl game. I am
I'm pretty sure the shirt on the back of that says, I hate the bowls.
I am anti the current college football calendar.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There is one portal window now. And we talked about this as it related to Sam on our emergency pod, right?
Yeah.
Is like, you know, maybe you don't go if you have, you know, that second window, right? If it's not just the one window. But you have just one window now, and guess when it starts? It starts January 2nd, 3 days after Arizona State's bowl game.
Oh, so, and in the middle of the college football playoffs, by the way.
So if you were, like, on the fence about going into the portal, why would you play in that game? The risk does not outweigh the reward there. Regardless of how much you love your teammates, regardless of how much you love the program, you don't gain anything from playing in that bowl game. The college football calendar needs to be completely reworked. And I don't have the perfect answer for it right now, but Kenny Dillingham was asked earlier today in that media availability about his thoughts on the business of college football and just what it looks like right now. And I thought, honestly, he gave a great answer.
There's no right answer. I could give you an answer, and it's going to be a wrong answer still, right? There is no right answer here. We've created a mess. Point blank. The whole industry is a mess, right? The only thing that's not a mess is the dollar signs. Those are still pointing up. Everything else is a mess. The dollar sign, the business of it, that's skyrocketing. Everything else is a mess. That's just being transparent and honest. There's not, other than the ratings, the dollars, the money involved, it's a mess. Yeah. So this is just another piece of the mess.
I mean, you could see how frustrated he is.
How could you not be?
Like,
if anybody's affected by this the most, it's the head coach.
Yeah, no, it's again, I think being a head coach of college football is one of the most difficult jobs in sports right now. Mm-hmm. And again, not to say that it's, like, not a fun job, right? That it's not a job that would be incredible, but, like, the pressure, the challenges in terms of recruiting and retention and all of these things. And I think, again, Kenny and this program have really they've painted their statement on the wall. If you don't want to be here, see you later. Bye-bye. Right? So that kind of makes it easy. Where there isn't really the back and forth of, like, hey, I want this amount, or, you know, I want this, I want that. It's like, well, if you're not committed here and you don't want to be here, then see it. Go find the best place for you. That's not here. Yeah. Right? But not just the portal, but NIL and the college football calendar. I mean, we've talked about it, the last 2 weeks now with coaches leaving in the middle of seasons?
Yeah.
Right? Why isn't Iowa State and Kansas State playing in bowl games? Right?
Coaches are gone.
One retired because he couldn't handle the stress of the job, and one went to Penn State where they're just threw the moon at him. Right? So you can't blame him for leaving.
No.
So, like, where's the gray area of, like, this is how you solve the problem. This is what it needs to be. Like, honestly, what does the NCAA do other than sit on their thumbs all day long, 365 days a year?
They don't
do diddly squat for the sport. And it's embarrassing. It really is because, like he said, the numbers, the business, the ratings, everything for this sport, they're skyrocketing. But, like, everything else, it's a mess.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing. Part of it, they might look at all of what the mess is as a positive. You want to know why? Because they're invested in media networks, and media networks get more views and more ratings when things are crazy, when stupid things happen, when Lane Kiffin goes from Ole Miss to LSU, and now you're looking in the playoffs, and now Ole Miss is a story to track in the playoffs because Pete Golding is going to try to coach them to a national championship in their best season in program history, and Lane Kiffin went out the door.
Yeah.
Like, you have created this ecosystem that eats itself, but continues to get better and better and better when it comes to money and numbers. Oh, the transfer portal. Oh my God, it's so screwed. It's so messed up. The kids are just in it for the money anymore, not for the love of the game. Well, guess what? Now you got an entire offseason of all these teams.
It's free agency.
All these teams that would have been otherwise irrelevant in January and February leading up to spring ball.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you got storylines and things to cover and things to talk about, right? And now you're on news on ESPN and on The Athletic and on PHNX. Like, you're on all these things. And if you are the NCAA, you don't really care about anything except for how do we become a year-round sport. That has always been. And
it is now.
I mean, this is a big conversation just about sports in general. The NBA is trying to do it. The NFL has been trying to do it. The MLB, they suck. They don't really try to do anything. But if they were competent, they would try to do it. It's how do we stay in the news cycle 24/7? How do we let our irrelevant moments become relevant enough to make us money?
Wes Beasy, who is this they you speak of?
I'm talking about like the entities that own these leagues, the NCAA, the NBA, the NFL, right? Like the people who at the end
billionaires,
of the day, they sit there and they say, our main objective is to grow. Now, what does that mean? It means make more money and get more visibility and sell more ad space and get more investors and continue to do that, rinse and repeat. How do you do that? Well, you leave things a little messed up so people find loopholes and now you have storylines. I think realistically, you got to expand the season as far as the time period goes.
In terms of what exactly?
I think you need to start the season a little bit earlier and maybe play that bowl game a little bit earlier. And then
non-major playoff games, or playoff games should be the only games that go on past mid-December.
Well, and so that's the thing, right? Where I guess not really expand the season, but transfer portal and everything like that should not open up until the season is over. And in order to do that, you need to start the season earlier, and you need to give enough time for the transfer portal window to go, happen, and then close before spring ball, with enough period of time for everybody to situate their crap.
Yeah.
You know what that means? You should probably start the season earlier.
There are a number of things that are wrong with the college football calendar. So, like you said, it's an absolute mess. The business side is absolutely great. Arizona State football, man, it is a fun program to follow. And I think, to kind of sum this up before we move on to some other sports at ASU that are just dominating, this is a program that is in great hands in Kenny Dillingham. And yeah. I think, as sad as it is, I think to see some of these players leave, you got to remember that all the guys that we talked about today, outside of Fortier, they all were portal guys.
Yeah. Right.
So like the same excitement that you had in bringing them here and watching them succeed and watching them play and watching them grow and watching them develop, that's maybe one of the best parts of college football now with this portal season is, hey, you get a whole new batch of guys to be excited about and see the potential and watch them play for Arizona State. And of course, we're going to keep you updated here on the PHNX Sun Devils show pretty much year round, like you said, Rubus, when it comes to those Arizona State Sun Devils, the new ones, the old ones, and I guess those in between. But we are going to give some love to some other Arizona State programs on the other side of our final break.
I bleed Desert Financial Credit Union blue. It's just what I do. I mean, I've been telling you about it for years now. At this point, that my family has been using Desert Financial Credit Union since it basically started. My grandparents used it. My parents used it. Of course, I've used it ever since I got my first job in high school. I've been using Desert Financial Credit Union to literally right now, right at this moment. Of course, Desert Financial is the official retail banking partner of Arizona State University. And for more than 84 years, DFCU has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that just make lives better. Not just the basics, the checkings and the savings accounts, but also when life gets more difficult. Mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. And right now, Desert Financial wants to provide you one of those financial solutions and gives you $100 into your account if you go to desertfinancial.com/ASU for more information.
Yeah, look, guys, with all that extra money that DFCU is trying to give you, well, I've got the perfect place for you to spend it. And that is, of course, Rally House. If you are heading to El Paso for Arizona State's date with Duke in the Sun Bowl, well, maybe celebrate and bring in the new year with some new Arizona State merch. And I'll tell you what, the Tempe Marketplace location at Rally House has some of the best Valley sports gear in the game, not just as it relates to Arizona State, but the Diamondbacks, the Mercury. Heck, they even got old Coyotes merch in there. Yes, if you are a hockey fan looking to rep, of course, they've got the Cardinals. But again, specifically as it relates to that Tempe Marketplace location, if you're a Sun Devil fan, no better place to get that Arizona State merch because, well, half the store is Arizona State merch. We're talking hats, shoes, slippers, jerseys, all of the above. Make sure you find your local Rally House location and shop their entire product assortment online at rallyhouse.com today. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Appreciate everybody so far that's still with us live. Those of you that are listening after the fact, listening on audio, those that were a part of the emergency show this morning, and those of you that are going to be with us throughout the entire offseason, bowl season, etc., right here on the PHNX Sun Devils show. And of course, we spend a lot of time talking about Arizona State football, especially around this time of year. But I mean, we wouldn't be an Arizona State podcast if we didn't shout out the other sports going on here in the Valley that are just dominating, starting with Molly Miller and the Arizona State women's basketball team. History this weekend. 10-0, Erik, for the first time in program history. Never been done before here in Tempe.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Molly Miller is 10 games into her career coaching Arizona State University.
Never lost.
Never lost. Well, look, and that's the thing. When you're taking over from a program that had not seen a lot of success post Charlie Turner Thorne, right, who was the greatest women's basketball coach in Arizona State history, one of the greatest coaches in general in Arizona State history. When you take over trying to live up to that in your first 10 games, you do something that has never been done in program history before. That is impressive. Now, they've had some blowout games. They've had some close games, a buzzer beat. They've had just about every type of game that they could possibly have. So you got to love it, and you got to show up support now.
Yeah.
Like 10-0, there's no reason not to show up when they're playing home games.
Not just for ASU women's basketball, but also Sun Devil volleyball is, I mean, maybe the biggest wagon that we've ever seen here in the Valley. JJ Niel, again, we had him on the show a few months ago. We know what he's building here at Arizona State in terms of back-to-back Big 12 champs. But we got a 2 seed now, headed to the Sweet 16, the regional semifinals on Thursday. This is just an absolute wagon of a team. And Erik, they've got a legit chance to win a national championship.
Yeah, they do. I mean, the thing about all these Arizona State teams that have become successful, including the women's basketball program, the volleyball program, is that they all seem so close.
Yeah.
And so connected, right? And I think that is kind of this trickle down from what Graham Rossini and what this athletic department has wanted just in general, which is you want people who want to be here, people who are engaged and who want to be playing with each other. And I think that volleyball team might be the best example of that we have at Arizona State.
Yeah, I think that's
in
fair.
general. Plus, I mean, big shout out. There has been a ton of support for that program as well and what J.J. Van Niel's been doing. I mean, these are the defending Big 12 champions, and they can go out there and do even more.
Back to back.
And that's impressive.
Back to back Big 12 champs for J.J. Van Niel and, of course, ASU volleyball. And we got one more. We got one more team for Arizona State that, despite the odds, is proving folks wrong. And that is Bobby Hurley's Arizona State Sun Devils with a big victory over the weekend over Oklahoma, winning 86-70, nearly a 20-point dub over an SEC opponent in the Sooners. Rubus, I mean, are they legit? Are they for real?
Now, I am going to caution myself in fully investing in a Bobby Hurley team before conference play.
Okay.
That being said, this team is very fun.
Yeah.
They seem to be taking some coaching very well, and they have some really good individual players. I'd love to be able – can I just get into the love to play?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Presented by, of course, Arizona Lottery. Play and gift today if you're over the age of 21. Now, as much as I would like to give the love to play to the technical foul assessed to Arizona State.
That's my love to play.
For not turning their lineup in time, and then Nigel Pack missing the free throw, which, by the way, that's when I knew ASU was going to win.
That's when you knew?
You can't miss that free throw.
No, you can't miss that free throw.
No, but 18:31 left to go in the first half. Tay Davis makes a free throw. And what does Bobby Hurley do? Subs out his entire starting lineup.
You. Out.
For an entire bench lineup. At that point, the score is 3-0. After that,
they rip.
Before Oklahoma scores another field goal, Arizona State scores 18 unanswered points.
Jeez, 18-0 run.
And that was subs came back in, right? And the starters came back in. And it was an 18-0 run. And then Arizona State didn't look back after that. That was, first of all, ballsy move from Bobby Hurley to do that.
1,000%.
But you know how much trust and faith your team has to have in you and you have to have in your team to do that?
Yeah.
Not even a minute and a half basically into the game. And you say,
you guys,
full line change.
Let's go. Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah, it has. And I think not just to get those guys off the bench into the game at that time, but kind of like you said, to get those starters, once they have sat, back in the game without them losing confidence.
Yeah, and they were fired up, man, and they were playing really well. Mo Odom continues to just be awesome.
Yeah.
Just making some great reads.
The star of the show.
Super quick. Really quick, really twitchy. I mean, you have to be at that size to be an effective guard, but he is great and not afraid to take shots either. I'm still maybe the world's biggest Alan Mukeba fan. I just really love the energy.
You're a guy, man. You're a guy.
Pig Johnson is that dude. Absolutely love Pig Johnson. Some big threes, big dunk. Bryce Ford had a dunk in this game. It was an all-around great game.
The thing that really has stood out to me so far watching this Arizona State men's basketball team that feels different over the last 3-4 years is I feel like, and maybe this is just because we're a non-con play, so again, I caution myself a little bit still.
Yeah. Which fair.
Yeah. Is I feel like we would go and we'd watch games last year and you'd look and you'd watch and you'd be like, man, Alston Mason played the whole game.
Yeah.
You'd look and
literally 40 minutes.
You'd be like, some of these dudes are playing 38, 39 the whole game.
Yeah.
Right? I think you go back and you look at Arizona State, only one player against Oklahoma played more than 30 minutes, and that was Mo Odom.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else within a good range, and I think part of that is the depth they have on this team. What Bobby said earlier, right? That it feels like this team is maybe a little bit more coachable. Right? So these guys are they're choosing their moments. They understand their roles, and they're kind of moving forward with that. And then again, to have a true point guard in Mo Odom that can kind of run the show on the floor, do everything that you need him to do, not just as a passer, but as a scorer as well. I feel like the rotations are just a lot cleaner than they've been in recent years. And I think that's leading to ASU winning these games.
This team fits.
Yeah.
The other team didn't fit. I mean, what Mo Odom is doing is kind of what you expected Alston Mason to do. And I think we had nothing but good things to say about Alston Mason last year. He was put in a really tough position. You know how many minutes per game Alston Mason averaged across 32 games played?
I think it was like 38 minutes.
36 and a half minutes.
It was ridiculous.
And 30 and a half for Bashir Jihad. 29.8
Wow, I
for
forgot
Adam.
the name Bashir Jihad.
29.8 for Adam Miller. 29.7 for Quains. 28.7 for BJ
Here
Freeman.
we go again.
28.3 for
loves
Jason
listing
Sanders.
He does.
Who doesn't love listing
The
things?
lister.
I'm just saying those are 5 guys. That's 6 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are 6 guys that either nearly average 30 minutes per game or average 30 plus minutes per game.
You know what stands
For
out to
ASU
me?
last year.
None of them are on the team anymore.
No.
And this team is winning all of a sudden. So, coinky dink, maybe. But look, it's time to get to By the Numbers, presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union named by Forbes. And Rubus, the only number that matters is that final score. The Sun Devils coming out on top over those Sooners, 86-70. The Sun Devils out shooting Oklahoma from the floor, 47% to 35%. From three-point land, I mean, it was better than a coin flip for Hurley's Devils, 54% from 3 to 28% for Oklahoma. Sun Devils out-rebounding the Sooners, 40-38, points in the paint. Sun Devils owning Oklahoma 24-18, and then the charity stripe, 68% for ASU to 62% for Oklahoma. And, of course, that led to Arizona State's 86-70 victory over Oklahoma. The Devils' next opponent on deck, Rubus, NAU. You juiced? Anybody? Everybody?
I'd run through a wall.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you? Guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of the PHNX Sun Devils Show. Again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review. And if you found us today, we do this 5 days during the week, talking all things Arizona State. We tend to focus pretty heavily on Arizona State football. So, of course, we will be back on Tuesday with what looks like we're going to have plenty to talk about leading up to that Sun Bowl in just a few short weeks. So if you want to keep up on social, give the show a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow that guy right there, the man who likes to list things, at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. You can follow the Deli Man at Shane Dief.
Starting to believe in Marcus Adams Jr. as always.
Hell yeah.
And we'll see you guys on Tuesday. In the meantime, go Devils. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.